Before we get into it, I have to shout out my wife. Linked in the description below is her tattoo Instagram and website. She is a super talented industry professional for over 17 years now. Even if you never plan to come to Edmonton for a tattoo, going to her Instagram and liking a few posts would be a huge help because algorithms and whatnot. So I'm here with my wife. Say hello,
Hello.
wife.
Also, you're incredibly biased.
Well, I wanted to point that out because a couple of the stories that I have curated for us today have to do with tattoos.
Oh no. Oh, this is gonna hurt me deeply.
It might. So the first one I've got, it's from Best of Redditor Updates, and it's titled, "My fiance got a face tattoo without talking to anyone."
Okay,
Um,
let's see where this goes.
I am honestly stunned right now. Originally posted to True Off My Chest. My fiance, Kim, I have learned, is completely insane. Completely insane. She took some days off work this week, sick, and avoided seeing most people in person. She claimed she was feeling sick and just wanted to stay home alone. She has never given me any indication that she would lie about this in the 6 years we've been together. No one in her family had any worries because she was a stable individual who would never do anything crazy. Before I continue, this was originally posted November 4th of 2022. Um, she got a face tattoo. She took 3 sick days from work to recover from the fact that she got a face tattoo. She told no one of this plan beforehand. I have never, in our time together, been talked to about tattoos by Kim. She showed no indication that she was even interested in getting any. I was not even the first to learn. Her sister visited her because she got worried after Kim canceled meeting with her for lunch on her third day sick and got the grand reveal. She didn't tell anyone beforehand because she didn't want to be talked out of it, and hit the results because the swelling and redness were so bad that we would react badly and not be able to understand the artistic meaning. I wonder if this has a picture. Kim is Asian American. She got Japanese symbols going down her forehead and under her eye. I don't know the meaning of them. I don't really know if I care to know the meaning of them. Kim's parents are Japanese immigrants, according to her sister, who was nice enough to inform me of this whole debacle. This is a big no-no in Japanese culture. Tattoos have links to crime and are looked down upon still. Her parents are beside themselves that is a whole other set of drama I can't even begin to approach. Kim talked to me last night about it and acted offended and started a fight because I told her it was absolutely insane for her to do this. She works a public facing job. She talks face to face with clients in the financial industry. The minute her boss finds out, her career that she went to school for will be over. She actually didn't consider her job or family or me at all and decided a long time ago she was going to express herself freely without any concerns. I'm worried about her right now. This is not normal. She blocked my number after our fight and is ghosting me and her sister because we're trying to help. But dear Lord, this is far beyond me. I cannot comprehend what I'm even supposed to do right now. Kim's lost her mind. Is there any chance I will be happily married to this? A woman who went and got a face tattoo and hid the fact because she knew we would all talk her out of it? Dear Lord, I really need to run, don't I? So that's the first post. I'm not sure, like, it says my wife, or, well, fiance. But maybe they're not living together at the time that this happened because they went 3 days without seeing each other. Let me check out the original post. I want to see if it. Nope, no photos. Okay. Wow, this got a lot of attention, huh? I read through the replies, but I can't really respond to all of you, so I'll just update here. The engagement is pretty much off. Kim has told me she never wants to see me again, and I woke up this morning with her ring and a box of stuff I gave her on my porch. I don't know what's going on with her. Her sister and family have been trying their best, but nothing on their end is working. I brought up to her sister the idea that this is a mental breakdown and they are looking into getting help. It's painfully slow considering Kim is not responding to anything and is refusing to talk to anyone. I don't really know what to say here, I guess. To answer some questions, Kim is 29, I'm 28. In the 7 years I've known her, she has never acted like this at all. She had a good relationship with her parents, and while they were a bit overbearing at times, they supported her in going to college and getting a career rather than starting a family. From what I've gathered, they probably would have been fine with any tattoo she got as long as it was not on her face, neck, or hands. Even then, this kind of behavior is far from Kim as I could have imagined. She just lost her mind out of nowhere. It's not like I can do anything about it either. She's blocked my number and does not want to see me. I'm just at a loss for words. One day I'm engaged, and the next I'm not, and my ex has a face tattoo. So all of what I just read was the first post with an update
Hmm.
after a while this got some attention. So yeah, face tattoos.
Well, I mean, it seems like it's a pretty classic case of identity crisis situation.
Yeah. Um, I am sure that the Japanese script she has on her face has some significance to her. Um, and I understand the view of tattoos in Japanese culture. Granted, it sounds like this is in America. But yeah. Anyway, update.
Oh,
8 months later.
okay.
About 9 months ago, my ex fiance Kim got a face tattoo without telling anyone. This was just the start of her doing everything she could to ruin her life.
Mm-hmm.
She broke up with me and called off our 7 year relationship when I questioned why she did this. She worked in a client facing job for an incredibly large financial institution and was let go within a month of showing back up for work after getting the tattoo. I kept in contact with Kim's sister, hoping for some news. They tried to get her help, and they thought she was having some kind of psychotic break. However, she eventually called the police on her own family, claiming they were harassing her. After that, I decided to just walk away. Kim didn't just destroy her own life. When she broke up with me, I felt numb. I knew this wasn't Kim doing this. I wanted to believe deep down that Kim was always like this. Always this impulsive crazy who would ruin her life by getting a face tattoo. I tried to convince myself that I had not lost a wonderful woman who I had spent 7 years of my life with. However, the person who made these choices was not Kim. The woman who told me over the phone she hated my guts for not supporting her. The woman who wrote she hated me and only ever stayed with me out of pity. That was not the woman I asked to marry. That was not Kim. That was someone who I came to find out was having a mental breakdown that resulted in months of bad decisions that will affect the rest of her life. The day I walked away and told her sister I could not deal with it anymore was the worst day of my life. It hit me like a train. The numbness and denial of what I had lost hit me all at once. I almost quit my own job and moved back home to my parents. I can only thank my boss for being so understanding that she let me take 4 weeks off to deal with what happened. She and the rest of my team went far beyond what should ever be expected of coworkers and management, that it makes me realize how close I was to leaving a job that I actually enjoy. I never moved on from Kim, but I came to accept what had happened. I thought I was okay until 2 weeks ago. I got a call from Kim. She had blocked my number and done everything she could to remove me from her life. My mind just blanked when I saw it was her calling. I picked up, and it was actually her. We didn't talk. I did not know what to say to her. We decided she would come over to my place, and we talked then. The tattoo is there, but she's covering it up now with makeup. She says when she has the funds, she's going to look into getting it removed if possible. She had lost a lot of weight since I last saw her. She's not been able to find a new job. She'll probably need to move to a new city for that. She wasn't the Kim I had fallen in love with. She was like a shell of her. Something just wasn't there anymore that used to be. Kim told me what had happened. The year leading up to the tattoo was awful for her. The stress of everything seemed to pile up more and more. I'll respect her and keep much of what she told me secret. However, the thing that is important is that she secretly. Oh man, I want to know the dirty details. The thing that is important is that she secretly started doing methamphetamines to keep up her performance at work and to deal with everything. And then one day, she just out of nowhere decided she hated everything about her life. She
Yeah.
explained why at the time she wanted a tattoo. It doesn't really make much sense, but a lot of what she was thinking at the time didn't. From there, she just lost control of everything. I won't talk about what happened after she disappeared, but it is not pretty. There are things she did that will follow her for the rest of her life. It explained a lot, but it did not make things any better. We talked for nearly the entire night. She didn't leave my place till almost 4 a.m. Since then, she said that she wants to try and get back together with me. She admitted she knows things cannot be the same, yet she wants to try. I haven't talked to anyone about what I'm about to say yet. I've held off talking to Kim about it because it feels selfish, but there's something about the way Kim acts about the way it affected my life that irks me. There's something about the way Kim acts about the way it affected my life that irks me. When we talked that night, she said that I was lucky she cut me off. I was lucky I didn't get put through any of this. I was lucky that my crazy ex wasn't at my door screaming or showing up to work and causing a scene. She acts like my life wasn't affected at all. I told her what happened after she left, how much it hurt, how I almost quit my job and moved across the country. Her response was dismissive. Like because I didn't go through with that, I didn't get to complain. She acted like because I was not the one with the tattoo on her face, I don't get to act like it had long lasting effects on me. She didn't even apologize for the explicit and hateful note she left with my things when she returned them. Or for the phone call where she called me a manipulative, selfish asshole who only wanted her for her body. Or even just for breaking up with me. She knows she was wrong to do it, but it's almost as if she's acting like because she had a breakdown, I can't hold her accountable for what she did because it wasn't long lasting. I texted her last night saying how hard it was for me when she left. She ignored it entirely and tried to move on. No acknowledgement at all. I don't know why, but it hurt me. It hurt me so much. I feel like I did back when all of those emotions finally hit me after she left. I wish she had just never come back into my life now. I wish I didn't know what happened. I wish I hadn't picked up the call because it hurts. But a part of me feels like I'm being selfish or complaining too much. That I don't get to feel this way because I'm not the one who had the mental breakdown. So what do you think, Beeb? Do you take him back?
First off, it doesn't state to what I heard in there whether or not she was significantly if she already had a lot of tattoos and this one was just much more extreme, or if she's got no tattoos or very little tattoos. I question the judgment of a lot of people in my industry, and specifically ones that would tattoo the face of someone that isn't
That hasn't
incredibly
at least had a few tattoos already.
no, that isn't incredibly heavily tattooed to the point where if it was going to affect their life, it would have already. That's kind of my stipulation for for hands are getting more relaxed and more lenient, which I'm happy about. Like I'm happy that stigmatization of my career has gone down, but the face is still incredibly frowned upon. I wouldn't tattoo somebody's face unless, like I said, they were already so heavily tattooed that if it was going to impact their job prospects, their family life, it would have already, so I'm questioning anybody that would. Also, I have a lot of disclaimers that I go through with people that are getting, certain types of tattoos, and I wonder how she found somebody to agree to do this, especially if she was, well, I guess it says that she was taking methamphetamines. I guess lots of people have access to people with questionable moral judgment when they're doing hard drugs. So I guess that explains that bit. But I mean, I knew right from the beginning, saying that she didn't talk to anybody and she went and made this incredibly, I feel like people that are in their right mind and aren't completely trying to self-sabotage their entire life and push everybody away from themselves, if they're thinking of getting a tattoo on their face, they usually float it by their most trusted resources to see what the reaction would be, and prepare them mentally for it, even heavily tattooed individuals. So, I mean, it was red flags on the field from the get-go that she was setting out to sabotage anything in her life that was maybe a healthy. There seems like there's a bunch of self-loathing going on.
She just started torpedoing everything. Do you heed caution when somebody approaches you with, like, I want a hand tattoo or a neck tattoo or something like that? Do you ever...
Oh, 100%. I have pre-written disclaimers and...
Yeah. I feel like a lot of tattoo artists are just, like... anything that someone comes through their door asking for, it's just a paycheck. Like, yeah, whatever, I'll put anything on your body you want as long as you pay me for it.
Yeah, no, it's probably why I'll never be well off, but I definitely have way more boundaries with people, not just for their benefit. Of course, it does benefit them to have a tattoo artist that's more discerning and going to talk through the potential problems they could face if they go through with certain tattoos, whether it's just like a area that's hard to heal or something that's frowned upon. But I have always, I guess, taken I have a high set of regulations for myself in my life, and I guess as a tattoo artist, I hold other people to them as well. But also for self-protection. I do not like impulsive clients. I've never done well with walk-ins.
Yeah, this sounded like a very impulsive decision on her end.
The moment that I was able to not have a boss anymore, I immediately stopped taking walk-ins because the likelihood of somebody having buyer's remorse is so much exponentially higher with people that are impulsively getting walk-in tattoos.
That makes sense.
And it's not to say that everybody does. Some, I have lots of clients that they got, even crappily done, one-off little garbage tattoos, but they love them because of, the certain sentimentality they have attached to them. Unfortunately, when you work in a service industry job, and tattoo artistry, I firmly believe, is in that category, you can't please everybody, and I just feel like the margin for crazies or people that are going to take things out on you is higher with impulsiveness. So I try not to mess with it as much as possible. I like to talk to people before booking them in. I like to make them send me email threads so I have things in writing. I like to give them those disclaimers so they can't claim that I didn't tell them.
Talk them into that.
Exactly.
Well, the story has one last update.
Oh my gosh, I was not anticipating that.
And it looks like it's a sad ending.
Okay. Well, I mean, are we surprised though?
My ex died of a drug overdose.
Oh man.
1 year after the first update. This was June 13th of this year, or of last year, 2024. I learned yesterday that my ex Kim died of a drug overdose on Sunday. I'm still processing the news, I guess. We broke up 2 years ago after Kim got a face tattoo out of nowhere. I have some other posts on this account about that if you want the full story. Kim reappeared in my life about a year ago after breaking up with me and essentially becoming a ghost. She wanted to get back together with me, and I stupidly considered it and let her get the foot in the door. She claimed after she was clean, but she wasn't. It was obvious she was still using meth, and my guess is she was still using fentanyl. After I finally declined to get back together with her, she slashed my tires after causing a scene at my office. Luckily, she's been out of my life for 6-ish months now, after some cop put the fear of God in her after she broke the restraining order. I've not heard much about Kim since then, thankfully. Last I heard, she was wanted on a warrant and was hiding low across state lines. Yesterday, though, Kim's sister called me to let me know she was found dead Sunday morning. She wanted me to hear it from her instead of through the grapevine. I appreciate it, despite everything Kim's family has been through, but I just appreciated it despite everything Kim's family have been nothing but kind to me. Kim's parents are quietly cremating her, and there won't be any ceremony. Seems that stealing and abusing her family since she started doing meth has made them just as detached about her as me. Or maybe they've already mourned the loss of their daughter long ago, and now it's just the end of whatever remained. Right now, I don't know how to feel. I feel like I should be sad. I knew Kim for 7 years. I was with her for 6. I was engaged to her. I lost my virginity to her. She was the first person I truly loved. I used to sit up with her and talk about the family I wanted to have. I wanted Kim to be the mother of my kids. Sat up with me as I cried when I heard the news of my mother's death. At one point in my life, she was the most important thing in the world to me. And I don't feel anything. When Kim left me, I was devastated. When she came back into my life, she made me feel a combination of emotions I can't even describe. And now, hearing the news that she's dead, I don't feel anything. I don't feel numb. I'm not in shock. I just am lacking any emotion towards this event at all. I feel like I should feel something, right? I still miss Kim. Not the Kim that died Sunday, not the Kim that stalked me, but the Kim I met. The Kim I fell in love with. The Kim that died when she started to do meth. I still feel sad when I think about her, but knowing this other Kim is dead just makes me feel nothing. That's it.
I mean, that's incredibly sad. Obviously, she was dealing with severe mental health issues and didn't have enough of the correct kind of support to get herself out of that. I'm not blaming her family or her husband. I mean, a lot of people are not equipped to deal with psychotic breaks.
Yeah.
And, if there's a lack of resources to be able to get that person the help they need, this is a lot of the time where it ends. She obviously spiraled like hard and fast. Like some people for decades, they struggle, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, so I mean that's a sad ending. I mean the face tattoo was indicative of much bigger problems, obviously.
Yeah. I have, this is just conjecture. If this is racially biased in any way, you can call me out on it, but I have to wonder if he said that the origin of her starting to use meth was because she felt like she needed to work harder. She needed to, it was a work thing. It sounded like, to get ahead at her job. And I wonder if it was like, I mean, by the sounds of it, Kim's parents weren't too super traditional Japanese. They were, willing to, they would have been okay with her getting a tattoo were it not, her hands, neck, or face. But maybe it wasn't imposed by her parents. But I do have to wonder if there was any like, that cultural Japanese influence of working hard. And I've heard
potentially,
that
or she might have just been in a mental health crisis spiral.
Yeah,
far
what came
before
first?
This happened.
Did the drugs come first, or did the mental health spiral come
No,
first?
I think mental health is always first.
Yeah.
Mentally healthy people, no matter how difficult a time they're going through, their first thought isn't, let me do meth to get ahead at work.
Yeah.
Like, people that are struggling with reality think that. The fact that this apparently came out of nowhere and no one knew she was doing drugs beforehand, she wasn't able to reach out to her support systems either from, feeling like they wouldn't be supportive of her because, again, we're only getting his side of the story. We don't know the pressures that were put on this person. But
any pressures he could have put on her, for all we know.
Yeah, but based on what we have for this story,
maybe she didn't want to start a family and she felt like he was pressuring her into it.
Or maybe she just felt pressure all around and was cracking under it. And again, I feel like the mental episode happened far before the face tattoo. To start taking meth to deal
a lot has to, you're right, a lot has to be going on.
Yeah, a lot has to go on for that to be the step you take before consulting your siblings, consulting your friends, your husband, your parents. That only really happens if there's already like maybe a history of mental illness that has gone undiagnosed, unsupported, and she's not maybe even realizing that that's what it is, and so she's turning to, albeit an extreme crutch right out of the gate.
Yeah.
But again, that's what we know from his perspective. She may have, this may have been an escalating thing. Like, she may have been leaning on things, substances. There's lots of functioning alcoholics. Eventually, it's not cutting it anymore, and they chase a harder high to try and escape from the realities of whatever is bothering them. So we know about the meth, but we don't know
what else
happened beforehand. So
I feel like it was maybe a year or two ago. I saw a Reddit AMA where somebody claiming to be anyway, um, a functioning, I forget what hard drug it was. It was heroin or meth or something. A functioning heroin addict or functioning meth addict, where they like, um, you know, dosed themselves in controlled amounts, or like, I only do this much per week or this much per day or something to that effect. Nobody knows, and it hasn't affected my work life yet. And I'm like, oh, geez, man, I don't know, like, the slippery slope, I guess.
I feel like that yet is a very big yet.
Yeah, yeah.
When you
I wonder
have
where that guy is today.
look, for anybody listening to this that doesn't know me, I have never done drugs. I've never been drunk. I am speaking from a place of complete raw dogging life, other than being put under for surgery one time. And accidentally dosing myself one
Yeah,
time with
there was that one time
the
you
one
were
time I took,
accidentally high.
yeah, where I took cold medicine and an allergy pill that do not play nice together, and I accidentally got screwed up. But outside of those instances, I'm not saying that I don't struggle. I'm not saying I live some charmed life. That's just my choice is to not partake in substances because of that slippery slope that you're talking about. So I do feel a lot of sympathy for this person that was the resort that they went to try and get through life, and it wasn't enough for them. So I mean, I feel obviously this is an extremely sad story, but
Well, I've got another one.
okay.
This is a three-parter posted to True Off My Chest. It's a break from tattoos. I've got this one and then another tattoo one. As of January 19th, 2025, this was the first post was 13 days ago, then 7 days ago, and then the last post was 5 days
Ooh,
ago.
so this one is fresh out the oven.
Yep, and I haven't read this one yet. I just saw the titles of the three-parter, and it sounded juicy. I found out I am pregnant, and everything fell apart.
Oh boy.
I never expected life to look like this. 2 years ago, I was in a different mindset. I was focused on little things. Back then, I felt so comfortable in the day to day routine that I overlooked how fragile my future really was. He and I met about 3 years ago. At first, I was not ready for anything too serious. I already had my daughter and was juggling everything alone. But little by little, I let my guard down. He seemed so patient and steady, helping me with my little one without having any children of his own. I fell for him slowly and then all at once, trusting that I was finally building the loving family I dreamed of. He encouraged me to stop using protection and birth control, which led to this pregnancy. For example, he would often say things like, "We should think about having a child someday," even saying he considers my daughter as his own, and gradually reduced our use of birth control methods. This pressure made me hopeful about expanding our family, but now I realize that he wasn't genuinely ready or honest about his intentions. His sudden withdrawal has left me feeling manipulated and unprepared for this situation. That was before last month. That was before the positive pregnancy test. When I saw the result, I felt a wave of panic and excitement. I wanted to believe he would stand by me, even be happy when the chance to add another piece of our family. He did not seem happy. He grew silent. He told me he was not actually ready for another child. He was worried about money and our future. He said maybe we should think about, quote, other options. Hearing that felt like a punch in the chest. Now our entire routine is off balance. We barely talk. My daughter has noticed and keeps asking why he is suddenly so sad or quiet. I try to stay calm for her, but my mind is spinning. One moment I'm crocheting while she colors, and I glance at him, hoping for some sign of warmth, but nothing. He looks away or changes rooms, leaves the house without explaining. The next minute I feel tears spill out. I remember how alone I felt raising my daughter by myself until he came along. Am I back to that? Will I have to do it alone again, only this time with two children? I love him, but his distance hurts me more than I can express. The shock of it is unreal. He was the one who used to laugh with me. He used to place a gentle hand on my daughter's shoulder when she learned new things for the first time, and teaching her. That sweet, playful version of him seemed to have vanished overnight. I am stuck, not only feeling the practical details of a new baby, but also grieving the deep sense of safety I once had with him. I keep replaying the moment he told me he did not want another child. I feel betrayed, embarrassed, lonely, and so sad. I do not know how to move forward. He rarely shares what is going on in his head. All I see is a giant wall between us, which might be permanent or might come down only if he decides he wants to let it. I do not have grand answers, just confusion and an endless swirl of questions. My daughter is the light of my life, and I feel guilty for letting my sadness leak into her world. But how do I pretend everything is fine when it's not? How do I plan for a new child when the father is suddenly distant? It is like the ground beneath me is crumbling, and I do not have a safe place to stand. It's a good metaphor. It helps a little to write it all down. Maybe someone will understand. I feel like a lot of people will understand. Maybe it will remind someone else that they are not alone. Right now, I am just hurting, missing a version of my life that I thought was guaranteed. If you made it here, thanks for reading. I hope that one day I can share a better update with you. Until then, I'm just trying to get through the day without letting the heartbreak swallow me whole. I feel like the social discourse surrounding pregnancy and motherhood is very it's fashionable. It's, presented as a beautiful thing. And oftentimes when a woman expresses these sentiments, they are not discouraged necessarily, but just encouraged by usually by other maternal figures in their life. Things like, oh, it'll be different when you see them though when they come out, and you love them so much, and all that stuff. But it's really, really hard, and it completely changes your life, changes everything about your life. And if you don't have a supportive partner, if it's just you with one kid, two kids, it's your life, your identity is practically over. Your entire existence becomes about these two kids. You don't have anything else.
And I mean, obviously, as a child-free couple, this seems like pretty cut and dry to us.
Yeah, because of stories like this, by and large.
But on the other hand, I'm gonna take it in a slightly different direction, because I feel like it is different from a woman's perspective too. I feel like it's really important to not forget that he encouraged her to go off of birth control.
Yeah. Yeah, so what was that?
This is I don't know what he was doing. If it was some sort of kink or fetishization of pregnancy.
Yeah, breeding kink,
or why would he not be forthcoming that he didn't want to have children, and at the same time...
Maybe he liked the idea of having children until it became a reality.
I feel like this person is incredibly short-sighted, and taking the way that we would feel about having children in general out of it, this man's crazy.
Yeah.
And I'm sad that she's finding it out this way, especially if she's not willing to terminate the pregnancy. I mean, that's her right to not want to. And now be saddled with another failed partnership that is in no way sounding like she could have anticipated it prior.
Yeah.
This guy
sounded like he was on board.
Yeah, this guy set her up to fail, it sounds like. And I know full well, taking, again, the pregnancy and the child part out of it, I know way too intimately being with a partner that through and through signs up for big life decisions that, in my case with my previous partner, that I checked in regularly about big life topics, about not just, hey, are you still on board to not have kids, because he seemed so wishy-washy at times, but also, are you okay with where we're looking to move? Are you okay? Is that the life that you want? And at any moment of hesitancy, okay, let's try this other option, where I think a lot of people that know me personally would think I'm very inflexible and pig-headed and stubborn, and I use those terms to describe myself sometimes too. But when it comes to like my partner's happiness and like what we're signing ourselves up for, I take that very seriously, and that has to come with a level of flexibility when you're with another person. And the level of betrayal, she's feeling it obviously in a very palpable way because she's pregnant and maybe doesn't for herself believe in termination of pregnancy.
Sure.
It sounds like she wants this pregnancy, but she wanted it with her
With a
partner. That's
partner.
why she took
Yeah.
him up. She obviously was preventing pregnancy because she maybe knew that she didn't want to necessarily
Like,
have
okay,
another
we'll start
child by herself.
phasing out birth control and
Mm-hmm.
maybe start working towards having a family together. It sounded
Yeah.
like he was good with her existing daughter, and
Yeah, and whilst I don't have that experience, I do have the experience of, hey, you signed up for this entire life with me. And I regularly checked in to make sure it was what you wanted before we got into a position where it was
it sounded like she
irreversible.
needed to stand up for herself. Like when, those calm afternoons where she's crocheting and then he just get up and walks away like, "Hey, dude, what are you thinking? What's going on? We have some hard
And
conversations we need to have."
I wouldn't be surprised if in one of the updates that does happen, but I can also understand the position of she's not just feeling incredibly fragile right now, she's in a very fragile place.
Yeah.
And what do they say? Don't ask questions you don't want the answer to. I've been there where you have a gut feeling, or maybe it's not even a gut feeling. He's obviously exhibiting he's being very forthcoming with his feelings on the subject now that it's, quote, too late.
Mm-hmm.
But, if you're watching your partner, somebody you've loved and relied on for 3 years, I know how incredibly safe you made me feel in a very tumultuous part of my life where it would have been very easy for me to feel like I couldn't love again. And you made me feel safe and heard, and like I could rely on you in a way that I obviously couldn't rely on my past partner, that you weren't going to just up and leave the way that he did. Despite all of my attempts to, keep the conversation open and honest. But if you just suddenly out of the blue, did that thing that I'm so scared of, where it's like you just turn that switch off and you can look in a person's eyes and they don't even resemble the person you love or care about, that's a scary feeling. And that makes it very hard to stand up for yourself or bring up these hard conversations, because there's a high likelihood, and she knows it, that she's not going to like what he says. And that if she brings it up, then it's over. Like right now, she's Schrodinger's pregnancy, Schrodinger's relationship.
Yeah.
And the minute
Will they, won't they?
the minute she starts holding him to task is the moment that the relationship is probably going to be over. And she's probably scared and putting it off as long as she can.
Like, there's a really obvious question that I feel like is hanging between them that she could ask him, which is, why did you want to have a child?
Why did you ask me to go off birth control if that's not what you
want to
wanted?
do this?
Yeah.
Well, based on the title of the other two posts, it doesn't sound like it gets better.
Yeah, I mean, a lot of Reddit stories don't.
I caught my fiance hooking up with my sister.
Oh, no.
While I'm pregnant, and
this is the same user?
Yep.
Oh, my God.
Caught my fiance hooking up with my sister while I'm pregnant, and tomorrow I'm exposing everything at our family gathering.
Oh, my God. Oh, my gosh.
She's going nuclear.
Oh, no. Well, I mean, good for her, but
Yeah.
also, oh, my goodness.
I have reached the edge of what I can bear. I am 28 and have been with my fiance for just over 3 years. We live together with my 4-year-old daughter from a previous relationship. 3 weeks ago, I found out I am pregnant again. At first, I was overjoyed, naive enough to think we were finally creating the stable family I had always wanted. He grew distant the very next day. He ignored my excitement, started coming home late, and kept his phone glued to him at all times. I began noticing strange calls and those discreet social media notifications that vanished too quickly. My gut told me to investigate. I almost wish I had not. He had been secretly hooking up with my older sister behind my back. She was the one I always tolerated, even though she drags drama wherever she goes. She would hug me when relatives were around, pretend to be the supportive older sibling, then turn around and badmouth me to her friends. I never imagined she would crawl into my life this deeply. It felt like a slap in the face to read their messages calling me clueless for not noticing. That's mean. He told her about the pregnancy before he was honest with me about his doubts, and they joked about how stressed I would be raising another child. My sister bragged that our entire family thinks she is the more interesting and more popular sibling. Meanwhile, I'm just the quiet one who apparently deserves this. I do not know if they are still meeting in secret or if they just get a kick out of hurting me. My fiancé denies everything when I confront him, says I am hormonal, that my imagination is running wild. My sister keeps messaging me, telling me I should keep my mouth shut and stop being dramatic. I am done hiding my anger. My mother wants me to talk it out calmly, but how do I fix something so broken I can barely breathe? My fiancé thinks I will just accept this. He is counting on me being too shy or too pregnant to do anything. Tomorrow, I plan to blow this up in front of the entire family. We are supposed to have a casual get-together at our parents' house, ironically to celebrate my pregnancy announcement. I will gather my phone logs, the screenshots, and all those humiliating texts they sent each other. Once all of the relatives have settled in, I will put everything on display. No more secrets. I might burn everything in the process. I might lose any chance of a pleasant co-parenting scenario, but I feel like I have no other way to reclaim my dignity. I have been crying nonstop for days, my nerves are shot, and all I get from my fiancé is either silent treatment or insults. My sister taunts me and acts like I am worthless. I see no reason to protect them anymore. I do not know what happens next. Maybe they will run off together. Maybe they will lie or twist things around to make me look insane. My fiancé has not contributed much financially, so I worry about affording my daughter and this potential new baby on my own. Yet I cannot pretend everything is normal. I have to protect whatever self-respect I have left. I'm going to set my entire world on fire tomorrow. Part of me feels terrified. The other part is numb. Regardless, I am done letting them tiptoe around my heart. If they want my silence, they should have kept their betrayal better hidden. Let everyone see exactly who they are. That is all I have left. Goosebumps.
Oh boy.
It sounds kind of like I'm making a lot of assumptions based on just 2 posts of hers that I've read. Kind of sounds like this girl's been accepted being a doormat for a while and been shy and maybe a little timid and just let people walk all over her and make decisions for her. And yeah. So, the third part. Posted to Off My Chest 5 days ago. Psych! Part 3 is an advertisement. No, I'm just kidding. That story does have a wild conclusion, and we'll get to it in just a moment. I just want to tell you first about a couple of projects I'm working on, and if my Elon Musk Fallout 4 video taught me anything, it's that if you leave the announcement for the end, no one will stick around to listen to it. But this is kind of important. In Edmonton, Alberta, Canada, the Arts Senior Animal Rescue does some incredible work. They work so damn hard to get sick and abandoned senior animals into homes. I feel like too often I hear about someone abandoning their older pet because of such innocuous reasons, like, oh, now we have a baby and the dog still wants attention, or the dog is old now and the vet bills cost money and mom and dad just got divorced, so we don't want to deal with the dog anymore because they peed on the carpet 2 whole times. Some people just don't deserve to have pets. Well, Arts does some incredible work getting these unwanted and abandoned animals into reliable homes that will keep them for life. My wife and I are actually fosters for Arts, letting some old puppies stay with us for a few months here and there until Arts finds a forever home for them. With us choosing to adopt our foster pups twice, and I'm sure it'll happen again over the years. Anyway, with Arts, I'm going to be doing a 24-hour video game stream overnight, starting in the morning on February 15th and going until the morning of the 16th. I'll be streaming for 24 hours, and I'm planning on doing a unique Skyrim challenge. I could just set out to complete some quests, but I've got some unique challenges in mind, like punch every Jarl in the face, make Braith an orphan because she's a brat, and maybe a couple other things. The point of this is to raise money for the Arts Senior Animal Rescue. You can donate to the cause right now with the link in my description below, and the link to my Twitch where I'm doing the stream is down there as well. Plus, from the time that this video is posted until the end of my stream, I will pledge any donations to my own Venmo, Cashapp, or PayPal as well, if that would be easier for you, and I'll post screenshots for accountability. Lastly, I want to remind you to check out my blog, where I wrote a novelization of Skyrim's Blood on the Ice quest. My brother died a couple of years ago, so I started the playthrough of Skyrim that you're watching with us right now, role-playing myself onto the companion character Eric, and role-playing my brother onto the Dragonborn. In this way, I got to watch my brother save the world and keep him alive in my own way. So, check out the Elder Brother Tales link below. Part 1 and 2 of the story are out right now, and I'd love to know what you think. It would mean a lot to me. The final part is coming soon. So, February 15th, 9 a.m. Mountain Time, 11 a.m. Eastern, I'm going to start streaming for 24 hours straight. Check it out if you're free that weekend, and maybe donate a couple of dollars to some needy pets. All right, back to the Reddit reading. Part 3 of that story is pretty wild. I exposed my fiancé and my sister's betrayal at the family gathering. I am still reeling from what happened. After writing my last post, do you have anything you want to say before I get into it, or do you just want to see how it ends?
No, there's nothing to say. The level of disrespect is just...
Yeah. After writing my last post, I spent hours debating with myself about whether I should really go through with it with exposing them at our family gathering. Part of me was scared I would turn my whole life upside down forever, but I knew I couldn't keep letting them walk all over me while pretending everything was fine. I called my mom beforehand to let her know I was breaking up with him and to prepare her. When I arrived at my parents' house, everyone was already there, including my ex-fiancé and my sister. My mother tried to pull me aside, whispering that we should talk first. I stayed calm, walked straight into the living room where everyone was sitting, and asked them to listen. They looked confused. My sister immediately rolled her eyes, and my fiancé mumbled something, probably hoping I would stay silent. I started reading the most shocking parts of the messages I found between the two of them. They mocked me, joked about me not noticing anything, and said I deserved this. I had timestamps proving he was sneaking around with my own sister while I was at home with my daughter. My sister stood up and accused me of lying, her voice defensive and low-pitched, but I just kept reading. The messages spoke for themselves. I revealed how he told her about my pregnancy before even discussing it with me, and how they laughed about me being stressed raising another child. My fiancé tried to dismiss me, claiming I was overreacting and misinterpreting the situation because of my emotional pregnant state.
Oh my God.
You know, I've never been pregnant, but I do know
The
that
condescension would make me go nuclear.
Yeah, saying anything to a woman about like you're just being hormonal, or you're just saying that because you're pregnant and it's making you feel lady things. Emotional pregnant state. He even blamed my mental health. By then, he stormed out of the room and my sister started crying. My dad stared at the floor, silent, while my mother looked horrified. Finally, my sister snapped and stormed out, yelling that I was a dramatic liar who blew everything out of proportion. Oh, well, what is it? Is she blowing the story out of proportion, or is she lying? Now the fallout begins. My fiancé, or rather my ex-fiancé, has been texting me nonstop. One moment, he says he is sorry. The next, he blames me for humiliating him. He shows zero genuine remorse. He's just mad that I exposed him. My sister calls me horrendous names, says I ruined her image, and refuses to take responsibility. She insists I am making up drama.
I need to just interject here. Girl, you ruined your image.
Yeah.
There's a lovely little line. I hear it around. I don't know the origin of it. But if somebody describing your own behavior makes you look like the bad guy, you're a bad guy.
Yeah.
Like, that's all it takes.
If you bang your sister's fiance, it doesn't matter which one of them started. It doesn't matter which one of them initiated. They both followed through with it. They're both to blame. And yeah, the sister here is not a good guy. She's not a
Mm-hmm.
good person. I don't care
You
what
banged
detail.
your sister's fiance. Period.
Yeah, I don't
Even
care
without all
what details.
the mocking, the like breaking her down a notch, making fun of her. All of that is like sadistic and cruel. But at the end of the day, even if none of that happened, you banged her fiance.
Yeah,
That's not a good sister move.
I don't care what there's always, you can take Reddit stories with a grain of salt. We're getting one side of the story, but I can't really consider. I can't even think about what details might be left out of this that could conceivably paint the fiance or the sister in any positive light at all. They're wholly in the wrong here.
The pregnant woman isn't pregnant, and she's on meth.
Yeah.
Like it is gonna have to take a wild turn in another direction for it to not be exactly as it's spelt out here.
She insists I am making up drama. Honestly, I do not even know if they are still seeing each other or blaming each other for being caught. Either way, their secret is out, and that is all I wanted. I am now talking to a lawyer because this man barely contributed financially before. I have to protect my daughter and ensure I never have a child with him. Only the thought of raising two kids alone is terrifying. I feel numb and heartbroken at times, but I also feel a strange sense of relief. At least everyone knows the truth now. I exposed everything that day in the living room, but at least I am no longer being trampled on in silence. My sister and ex fiance can no longer laugh behind my back.
I'm really
Yes,
curious about what the mom wanted to tell her. Why the fiance and the sister were there together. Like, did they have
yeah, she
a
tried to bring her into the kitchen, like, here, come talk to me first before you go nuclear.
Yeah, I feel like the the fiance and the sister were like trying to paint a story about her being nuts or something first. I don't know.
Potentially.
I'm really curious, and I'm hoping we find out what it was that the mother wanted to like talk to her quietly and hushedly, about first.
Um, Heartbroken at times. At least everyone knows the truth now. I exposed everything that day in the living room, but at least I am no longer being trampled on in silence. My sister and ex fiance can no longer laugh behind my back. Yes, things will probably get messy. They might lie to other relatives, people we mutually know, or twist the story, but I am glad I refuse to keep quiet. All I can do now is focus on the positive, talk to my lawyer, and move forward. It will be painful, but I will do everything in my power to build a new future on my terms, far away from these people. The end.
Good girl.
So the line about protecting her daughter and ensuring she never has a child with this guy
Yeah.
makes me wonder if that means that she's terminating.
I thought maybe that's what it meant, but then the
It's
next line
kind
after
of
that
vague.
kind of made it fuzzy as to
Only the thought of raising two children alone is terrifying. Good for you.
maybe she means she's going for sole custody so she doesn't have to raise
Oh yeah,
the
she did
second
say
kid with him.
right, talking to a lawyer. So that could be, yeah. Top comment. Good for you. The new journey ahead will be less toxic, and the betrayers will have to deal with themselves. Best of luck to you. Oh boy.
Yeah. Well, I do hope her the best if she's keeping the pregnancy. At least she won't have those anchors around her necks pulling her down. That's
Right.
worse than just the struggle alone. Is having a so-called support system that then is doing that behind your back, even taking the sex out of it, just the cruel nature in which they speak about her.
People really underestimate the risks involved when you have children. When you really have to trust
Mm-hmm.
the person that you're having children with,
Mm-hmm.
because too many of us have children with people that you don't mesh with long term. You have a good relationship with maybe for a couple of weeks, couple months, couple years even, and then they change or something happens and now you hate them. But
But
you're
kids are
eternally,
forever. Yeah.
yeah, you are eternally bound to this other person in one way or another because you share a child with them.
Yeah.
You don't have to interact with them day to day maybe, but like they are, for better or worse, in your life forever now in a regard.
Mm-hmm.
And you when you choose to have children with somebody, you put yourself at risk of that.
Mm-hmm.
So the next story is back to a tattoo one.
Oh boy.
And,
That's my go-to line every time you say.
oh boy.
Yeah, oh boy. Every time you say anything about, like, anything about the story, the title or just what it's about, that's my tagline now. Oh boy.
So I didn't know. I'm curious about this one. The title is I, male 31, don't like tattoos, and my soon-to-be wife, female 30, just got one in the worst possible place.
Okay.
I'm not sure who's really in the right or wrong here. He says he doesn't like tattoos. I tend to judge someone a little bit when they judge others on tattoos. I don't know. I guess it's a preference thing. If that's your thing. You don't like your people's skin being marred. Fine, whatever. I think they're an expression of yourself in a visible way. I don't have a lot. I only have one, but it's
for now.
For now. So originally posted to Relationship Advice. Originally posted on August 12th of 2018. As the title says, I don't like tattoos. I don't think you are special for having one. I don't think you are a deep person for getting a random Chinese character on your skin. I especially don't like those intricate big tattoos that cover a lot of skin. I just don't like them. Having said that, I have friends that have all of the above, and that's fine. It's not on my skin. It doesn't bother me. And as long as we can talk about anything else, it's all fine. Enter my soon-to-be wife. We've been together for 5 years. She is painfully aware of my feelings, but she still wanted to have a tattoo before we marry, a symbol of us to carry with her. I didn't really like the idea, but what can I really do? I love her, and what harm can one tattoo do? We talked where she should have it done, and the back of the wrist came as a suggestion, the shoulder, on her leg, on her back, tramp stamp, etc. She goes and has it done, and I can't be there with her because I have an important client visiting at work, and time off is important. She texts me during work, she tells me it's done, that she loves me. I ask for a picture of the end result, and she tells me tonight it will be a surprise. I finally get home. She's dolled up, super tight black dress, stockings, everything for a night of fun. She tells me to go have a shower, and she will have dinner ready in the meantime. I ask to see the tattoo. She tells me later. I am frustrated, go have a shower, come back, have dinner. Then we go to the fun stuff. I didn't say see the tattoo on her wrist or legs, so I think to myself it's either on her back, upper thigh, or her shoulder. I'm fine with that. I undo her zipper in the back, then she returns and lets her dress down. Instant boner killer. She had it done on her chest, above her breasts. It's big and in your face. It leaks above her breasts, like on top of the breast. It has thick contours. This did not go well with me. She completely ignored my opinions. She disregarded the places where we agreed she could have it done, and it's a monstrosity of a tattoo in a place where I will always have to see it if we make love, or she wears a bikini, or something that has a cleavage. It is also something that is personal to me. Of all the things she mentioned the tattoo will be, she never told me about this. She said she wanted it to be a gift to me, to show her dedication. I feel disrespected, ignored, like my wishes and desires have no meaning to her. To me, it shows what she thinks my status will be in our relationship, that she will just be able to go over anything I say and take drastic decisions without caring of the consequences. Well, a consequence of this is that I am calling off the wedding. She is in freak-out mode. She says she thought I will like it, that she wanted to show her dedication to me, that she will have it removed, basically anything she thinks I want to hear. My side of the family is understanding of my reaction. They know my standing on this matter. They know it wasn't something I just like to pretend I hate but secretly love. Her side of the family is split. Her mother is more conservative, so her motives are not too straightforward. Her father is on my side. Her sister is all on dear sister's side. Her brother is neutral and doesn't want to get involved. To me, even if she gets the tattoo removed, it shows her willingness to ignore my side of things, do things her way, then scramble and try to fix the eventual fuck-up. I can't have that in a relationship. What do you guys think? The wedding is definitely off. That decision I won't revert. What steps would you take regarding the relationship? Is there anything worth saving here? Is this how she will always be? Or was this a spur-of-the-moment decision? Any advice will be appreciated. Out of curiosity, this is one of the comments. Out of curiosity, what was the tattoo of? Wings with a heart in the middle. Inside the heart, there is a symbol that is a birth sign I have on my body. Okay.
Like a birthmark?
I believe so.
Okay.
All right, Fawn. Let's take a break. Okay. Yeah, I took a birth sign he has on his body, like maybe a interestingly shaped freckle or something that she put in the center of her heart.
A birthmark or something.
Yeah. So, like, I understand the symbolism, I guess, but...
I mean, if she really wanted to...
If it's really about him, then... And knowing how he feels about tattoos... I mean, I think this guy's...
is the story over?
Nope, there's at least one more update.
Okay, we don't need the update. We can discuss just what we... I just didn't know if we interjected halfway through a sentence or whatever.
No, we're at the end of one of the posts.
Yeah, Look, there's things that are perfectly normal for other people that I don't like, and you've been really wonderful about respecting my boundaries on that. Obviously, a person's body is to do with what they want, and that includes tattoos. But if you're entering into a marriage with a person, that is joining your lives. That is taking an oath that you're going to take the other person's, opinions and what they're comfortable with into consideration. He agreed to a tattoo, and if she was thinking something of this magnitude, she should have, as a good spouse. I'm not saying that she's wrong for getting this tattoo, but as somebody that wants to have a equal happy marriage, you should have had months of discussion with your husband to get him to a point where he was comfortable with this. If he's this upset about the topic, and he's allowed to be upset about the topic. You don't want a tattoo? Don't get a tattoo. Look, the end might have been the same. If she was adamant about getting this tattoo for herself, which she has every right to, then maybe he would have chose not to continue with the engagement.
Yeah.
People come to forks in the roads with their marriage all the time, but
she has to weigh that against, like, how much...
I just could never imagine... maybe it's because I have control issues or I don't like change. I couldn't imagine springing something like this on a partner. I'm taking my personal bias about it being permanent artwork on your body out of it. Like, buying a new car or doing something drastic to the home or making some huge purchase without even consulting them first, without preparing them. He was thinking there was a massive miscommunication or lots of, she left lots out. He was anticipating a small tattoo, a dainty thing on a wrist. So on top of his negative feelings about the thing, you then explode something so far out of his comfort zone that I don't know how she thought this was going to go any other way. I don't think it was a bad idea to maybe get the birthmark. Maybe get the same birthmark, get a picture of it while he's sleeping.
Yeah, that would be kind of cute.
And put it in the same spot as he had it. Maybe that would be the gateway to slowly changing his thoughts.
Said she got these big, flamboyant, and honestly, a little cliche, wings, a heart, and, like, what's the significance? I understand the heart and the birthmark, but why wings? Like, what?
I mean, I could go on a rant forever. We're not here for my views on tattoo tropes. Not even just tattoo tropes. Art tropes in general. There are classic recurring themes that human beings just tend to go for.
How many different types of wings have people had tattooed on their bodies over the years?
Probably shockingly less than you think. It's probably, like, if we're looking at a pie chart, it's like 2% is like skeletal wings or,
Cyberpunk wings.
Yeah,
or
like honestly, most of them are going to be angel wings.
Yeah.
That is, and then probably the next biggest thing will be like butterfly wings. Like, that is just what people tend to gravitate towards.
One of my best friends growing up, when I remember when, you're like 16, 17, and he told me his parents were going to let him get a tattoo. In the state I grew up in, a minor could get a tattoo with parent permission. And I remember thinking that it was kind of cool, but I feel like my memory of that time is a little hazy, but I feel like even then I remembered thinking, like, maybe you should think about it a little more. And he got an angel wing on one shoulder with a little halo above it,
Mm-hmm.
and then like an evil looking devil red wing on the other shoulder.
Yeah.
I'm sure he regrets them today. The halo over the angel wing wasn't even round, for starters.
Yeah.
It was a little misshapen, a little oblong. I'm sure he had it done by some scratchy guy in a garage somewhere. And
Again, not to incriminate myself, I'm going to try to be as just neutral about this as possible, because there is two sides, I think, to every tattoo artist in some capacity of
an angel wing and a devil wing.
no, your professional face fronting, public facing opinions on tattoos, because at the end of the day, whatever makes the person happy is what you do within the limits of, like, will it withstand the test of time? Is it tasteful? Can you make it look pretty? Can you do it well, execute it properly? Outside of that, so there's my professional tattoo artist opinion of what you want to make you happy. Whether I think it's right or wrong or good or bad or whatever, I'm going to do it to the best of my ability, because you're the one that has to live with it. But every tattoo artist also has their other side, which every human being has. Art is subjective. Not all art is created equal in the eyes of every individual human. So I'm trying, when I am in my work frame of mind or we're discussing tattoos overall, I try to keep it to execution, whether I think it's been done properly versus whether I think the idea is good or bad, because that is 100% subjective. Go to any art museum, any type of art, whether it's modern, tattoo, sculpting, and you're going to look at some sculptures and go, that's a piece of shit. And that doesn't speak to me in any capacity. And then you're going to look at some and you're going to be like, wow,
that's really moving.
And there's going to be another person that goes in and has the exact opposite take on those two pieces of art. So I'm not going to weigh on whether your friend's tattoo was a good or a bad idea, because personally, I might not like it, but I'm not the one wearing it, so who cares?
Well, it was objectively, like, poorly done.
Yes, that would be my
The idea, you can argue the idea whether it was good or bad all day, but like, it was just a poor quality tattoo.
Yeah, and I don't think you should think of it as, with tattooing, as a good or a bad thing either. It's just, that is something you wouldn't do. You wouldn't want that on your body, no different than there might be paintings you wouldn't want to hang on your wall versus other ones. And that's the way I look at it. But I have no doubt seeing some tattoos in the area that you are from. And I mean, just anywhere, even here. My gut reaction is always, I'm a natural pessimist. I'm always concerned that it's going to be bad when people want to show me their tattoos, and I don't have much of a poker face. If it's badly executed, I can't really hide it. I'm always very pleasantly surprised when somebody reveals their artwork to me.
And it's actually good.
Oh, when it's good, I'm so relieved. But let's get back to this story here.
Well, I always, whenever I see someone from back home that gets a tattoo from somewhere around there, I almost always think my wife could have done that better.
No, again, you're biased, but I do appreciate the strong, loving support.
But on your note about being surprised when you actually see good artwork, I had a friend when I was younger, and she got a tattoo when she was like 16. And when she, I don't remember how old she was when we were talking, maybe like 20s. And when she was talking about it to me, and she's like, "Do you want to see it?" I was when she told me how old she was when she got it, I'm just like,
you were bracing for the worst.
This is going to be a garbage tattoo.
Yeah.
And I was shocked to see an actually very well done thigh piece. And then come to find out that the person who did it was like a family friend of hers that was on Ink Master or something. I'm like, oh, okay, that explains it.
With this to me, I'm really taking the tattoos out of it. This just comes down to betrayal. He had articulated his feelings about this topic. It seemed like they were on the same page, that he was compromising to try and make her happy because he knew it's what she wanted. And then she kind of...
He gave her an inch and she took a mile.
Yeah, and so I feel like if you have a spouse that's this passionate about a topic, trying not to hit too close on the nose.
I can't help but note some parallels between
Yes, I'm going to try to not hit too close to the nose on some things here. But, like, baby steps go a long way.
Yeah.
This man will never be comfortable with her having a sleeve. I can almost guarantee that.
Yeah.
But there is a world where he would be comfortable. If this was a tattoo she wanted, I think, like, because really the heart with the birthmark in the middle, that's an afterthought. Because if she really wanted just the birthmark... She wanted
a big tattoo.
Yeah, she wanted a big tattoo, and she thought this was her only chance, and that we're getting married,
I'll make it about him, so he'll have to accept it.
He'll have to like it, and that has now horrifically backfired. If she had just gotten maybe the birthmark because she thought that was a cute idea, maybe she could have eased him into it. Lots of people are scared of change. I see it happen all with my clients. They come in. I've had, without naming any names, if she ever were to see this, she'd know it's her, because I've been tattooing her for over a decade. She's wonderful. When she first came to me, she was so scared of the change of a tattoo. She wanted a tattoo, but she was so scared that, like, what if I don't like it? What if I grow tired of it? All of these things, which are perfectly natural. This is a permanent alteration. I feel like tattoo artists that get kind of flippant. I mean, I've been doing it 17 years. I'm still not flippant about people giving me their skin to permanently alter. And it is scary, and I understand these people's concerns. And so she wanted it as small as I could do it, and in white ink only. Like, I specialize in white ink, so I was totally comfortable with that. But I could tell, like, she was scared of that commitment to this thing. And I did for her, over the course of a few years, probably 20 small white tattoos, until the day came where she was like, I think this one I want a little more gray. I can't see it. I want to add another white ink tattoo, but this other one that I really love that healed and I can't see the white as much, can you put some gray in it so I can see it more? And it was like, once she had lived with these tattoos for a while, she started to realize that even if it's very in a visible spot, your brain eventually stops seeing it as a foreign body. Your brain starts seeing it as just part of your body, no different than a freckle. Where unless you really focus on it, you don't see it. Oh, that's just what
my arm looks like.
Exactly. Like your nose in front of your eyes. Unless you look for it, you don't see it most of the time. And so then progressively, she started getting... she went from kind of, after... She took years to do, like, white ink-only tattoos. And then she kind of took a couple of baby steps into gray. And then it was like, I want big gray tattoos, a full rib piece. We went over some of her white. She wanted the white ones still on there. She didn't want them fully covered, but she wanted bigger tattoos put over top of them. And, like, kind of 0 to 100 in that sense of, like, she took a lot of baby steps to get there. And then suddenly, when she realized that, yes, it's a commitment, but eventually she was going to stop seeing it as, like, a foreign body, she dove in head first. And maybe that's what this
and now
guy...
she's covered head to toe?
We've tattooed her significantly. Most of her tattoos are smaller, and it's more like we're doing chunks. But they're all very watercolor, feminine, floral types. She gravitates towards that aesthetic. But, like, with this gentleman, like, you know, he feels so strongly on this subject, and whether she thinks it's silly or not, if you're choosing to marry that person, you have to take their opinions into consideration for it to be a happy partnership.
Like, I have thoughts about his strong dislike of tattoos. I think it's a little silly, but that was a hard line he presented, presumably very early in the relationship. Like, hey, if we're going to continue seeing each other, this is a thing you need to know about me. I don't like tattoos.
I think the problem, and that's why I took the tattooing part out of it completely, is because it revolves around a seeming control over the other person's body. We immediately flare up of like, she can do what she wants with her body. And of course she can. I fully accept that. I'm trying to take it away from that space because the reason he is so affected by what she did is because he thought they had an understanding and she betrayed his trust.
Yeah.
At the end of the day, that's what this reaction comes from.
Like I said, give an inch and take a mile.
And I think, again, taking my opinions on the fact that people being upset about tattoos is silly, that's my personal opinion on it. And if you told me what I couldn't do with my own body, I'd be upset about it. But so I'm trying to take it away from that sphere. Because obviously there's problems there with what he's voicing.
Sure.
The big issue here is that he thought they had an understanding. He thought she was respectful. He was trying to be okay with something he's not okay with for her benefit. And instead of slow baby steps that maybe could have acclimated him to, these aren't such a big deal if they're done tastefully and well executed, and that maybe she could have gotten him to a place where he'd be more comfortable with a more visible or a larger tattoo. She basically just came out of the gate running and like kiboshed every chance of like, because he's never going to trust her again.
Yeah. I wonder if she had like deluded herself into believing that he's truly going to love this, or if she just felt like she needed to behave that way.
This to me does not come off self-destructive. I don't think she was trying to chase the marriage away. I genuinely think she thought, I'll tie him into it some way, but this is the design I've always wanted. I'm going to put a little piece of him into it so that he has no choice but to like it because it's for him. I can hide behind saying that it's for him, but it wasn't. Let's be 100% honest.
You don't love it, then you don't love me because I did this for you and you're behaving so cruelly to me.
If the conversation beforehand had been, I really want a large-scale chest piece. This is the ideas that I want that have been in my head for a really long time. I would really like to see this come to fruition. It's something I've wanted for a long time. And he was like, absolutely not, ever will I be comfortable with that. Then she has the option to end the relationship and get the tattoo she wants. Everybody has a right to be in a trusting partnership. And I don't think she was the trusting partner. Like if we were taking this to any other type of thing that wasn't about permanently altering her own body and just hoisting this thing upon your partner and like, well, you have to deal with it because you love me. It's like, well, do you love him? That you would make him so uncomfortable and not include him in the planning? Like you're saying it's for him. Why did he not get a say in the planning of it? It wasn't for him.
He didn't know where it was going to be.
And truth be told, most tattoos... Or even
what it was going to be, really. Yeah.
Most tattoos should not be for another person. They should be for yourself.
Exactly.
I don't like that she's trying to like hide behind but it's for you. It's like, no. Because if it was for him, his choice would have been no tattoo at all. And it definitely wouldn't have been this visible tattoo right over your breasts that he's going to... Husbands, on the whole, want to see their wives naked. And not that I agree with his stance. He is obviously disgusted by tattoos. And so you put them in a place like that, it's going to only bring about the end of your relationship. This was so ill-advised. Unlike the first lady, who I got immediately catapulting her life into the sun vibes from, this lady, I think, was so ignorant to the damage. She just didn't want to think about it. She wanted to do a thing, and she just assumed he would be on board.
It'll work out. You know, whenever I hear about wing tattoos, I always think about, like, the anatomical placement of them. Like, where would wings be if humans had wings? Presumably on our backs. And if you tattooed your back with wings, then you would be looking at the back of the wings. And then, you know, you see people with tattoos of wings on their arms or their chest or something, and that's not where wings go. It just looks weird.
Well, I mean, not to be, you know, wings would most likely be our arms based on the animals
Yeah,
that have
true.
wings that are closest related to us. They wouldn't be out of our shoulder blades like angels. We would not have arms.
Yeah.
And we would have wings in their place.
Our
Just
bones are
like
too heavy for wings anyway.
just like if we had flippers, they wouldn't be out of our abdomen. We wouldn't have arms, and we'd have
Yeah.
flippers instead. I think this is a classic case of she thought she could ask for forgiveness instead of permission. And I always think that's a really bad place to make any decision.
To start from.
Bringing a pet home, again, purchase a large purchase for the home. Like, if you really want a partnership.
Oh, you mean like buying a horse?
Yeah, I fucked up there.
That's okay. Noah was a good boy.
No, he wasn't a good boy. We're not gonna lie here. But I just didn't want him to get turned into meat.
Yeah,
so
I understand.
It's not too far.
I like to believe I took that in stride.
You did 100%, and I'm extremely not impulsive, and I think that's why you thought from my reaction that something bad had happened was because something bad had happened. I was not impressed with myself after, but I just knew he was going to go for meat, and I wanted to prevent that from happening, and that was not a wise decision on my end. So I'd like to say that wasn't a permanent alteration, though, but yes.
Yeah.
Typically, bringing home an animal, I'm saying from my own experience, bringing home an animal, even a rescue situation, is frowned upon. You should not do it without consulting your spouse,
your partner,
because it is going to
affect you both.
Yeah, like to put my hat in the ring here without, nobody's a perfect angel. I did that I wanted to rescue this animal. I felt a compulsion to do it. I'm extremely not impulsive, so this was very out of character for me. But I basically did sign you up for, if you had been living here the entire time that he was here, I would have been signing you up for a financial burden, an extra chore to do, another animal to blanket in the cold and help feed in the winter. And so, yeah, that was not very fair of me to just, it's, my money, so it's okay if I rescue him. Well, he's going to be living at our home, and you're a big, strong man, and I'm allergic to hay. So you do lots of horse chores for me because you love me.
Sure.
And so that was not the wisest choice on my behalf. And I take ownership of that. I don't excuse it.
That's okay. I really don't hold it against you. But
you don't, because you're a beautiful human. But that doesn't excuse it.
Sure.
It doesn't excuse making such a choice like that without a consultation with your partner. And that's exactly what I'm saying here. She can do with her body as she chooses, but if this was the spouse she chose, she has a fork in the road that she has to look at her options and weigh the way that she's going to handle it, and she handled it all like the worst possible way she could.
It just circles back to making large decisions that are going to, in one way or another, affect you as a couple, affect your relationship, but taking your partner's feelings out of consideration. If you want to talk about kids, poking holes in condoms or sabotaging birth control. One party decides that something is going to be a way, and the other is just going to accept it. So, let's see how this shakes out.
Oh my goodness, we've rattled on so long, I forgot there was more.
Yep. I would like to thank those who provided feedback and perspective and have not straight out called me an asshole. We will continue with the wedding as planned. We realize we still need to work on our communication, but we are also painfully aware how miserable we both were during this whole ordeal. This has been our first serious fight. What happened? Insecurity. She had this idea that I don't think she is dedicated to our relationship. She wanted to prove it somehow. Turns out the end result wasn't something she was happy with either.
Oh no.
My initial reaction didn't help, and for the next few days, things spiraled out of control. After the post here on Reddit, I decided we needed to sit down and put our ducks in order. I love her, and she loves me, and there was no reason why we would not be able to untangle this mess. Why I hate tattoos? All she knew is that I am not a fan of them, but not the reason. When I was younger, a lot younger, I was horribly abused by someone that had many tattoos. Okay. I don't associate people that have tattoos with abusers, but I am also not a fan of tattoo culture because of it. She didn't know because I never talked with her about it. I suppose I never wanted her to think I am vulnerable, or that I was. You can imagine, after these many years, my thoughts on the matter are still mixed. Anyway, she was horrified to learn about this and she started crying. She will have the tattoo removed. After the original post, I have come to the conclusion that her new skin decoration is something I will have to live with, but at the end of the day, she is the one I want, and a mild annoyance will not define our relationship. I told her this, but she will get it removed anyway. I think she is horrified by my revelation. We also decided on couples counseling to see if it is something that will work for us. If either of us will be uncomfortable, we will not continue with it. We also decided not to be assholes to one another in petty manners. I will wear shorts again, god damn it. Ha ha, that was a funny conversation. We won't impose restrictions on one another. I will go out with friends and watch football with them again. She can go out and meet her girlfriends. We will put a lot of work into ourselves individually and as a couple. Turns out we have a problem with communication, but the prospects are positive. Her insecurities didn't want me to go out with friends because some of them are single, and what if they bring women there that tempt me? So she always had to be there. But she doesn't like football, so you can see where this is going. I am happy with the results of the original post. She is happy I took the initiative and broke the ice. My fears were she had a tattoo done as a power play, but there was no malice. I want a relationship of equals where a decision can be made as a couple. We will see where this is going, but the last 2 days have been amazing. I was asked this question, so here's the answer. We live together. We own a house 50-50. The night of the tattoo reveal, I went to my parents, she went to her parents. Essentially, until 2 days ago, none of us lived at home. She said she doesn't want to be there if I am not there. As a closing note, this could have been a huge mistake for both of us. Communication is key. I urge couples out there to learn from my story and open up to one another. Had I done that sooner, I would never have been here. Thank you. He added in the comments, hey, thanks for reaching out. The last week has actually been amazing for the two of us. She actually already consulted a specialist in tattoo removal. He's also a plastic surgeon and has some recent type of laser that is apparently very good at removing tattoos. He said there would be no significant scarring, maybe where the lines are really thick, but he thinks it will not be noticeable. Alternatively, if she goes in for less intense sessions, it could go out without any scars. She's happy about that. And she also talked with the person that will do her makeup for the wedding, and they already tested a tattoo cover up cream. The tattoo opened all doors. We talked about our insecurities, our needs, and wants. We know where we both stand. There is not much difference of opinion. She was very insecure about my dedication to the relationship since the grand gesture through the tattoo, and her insecurity was immediately confirmed by my reaction because she rationalized that even if I hate tattoos, if I love her, I will work through it. She was lacking some information from my past, though, and since we had some time to talk, I hope she knows I am with her and my reaction was not about her or my feelings towards her. The end.
Wow. Okay. So I don't know if I've ever had a Reddit story conclusion that has made me feel both so sad and so happy at the same time.
How do you mean?
First, I'm sad that the tattoo was poorly done, and that even after she got it, she wasn't happy with it. That's like a worst case scenario in my eyes is like you get a tattoo done and immediately hate it. Like that's
Yeah,
heartbreaking to me.
especially as the artist, I would imagine. Like you put so much work into this.
Truthfully, that tattoo artist will probably never even know that she hates it.
Yeah, probably.
Um That doesn't make it any less sad, though. I see it a lot where some tattoo artists try to push clients in a direction either for size or something that can be done at a smaller size or in a simplistic way, but the tattoo artist is hoping to get a bigger paycheck or portfolio piece out of it. I don't know if that's what happened here. We will never have that context, but just that. And then also, like, okay, like, I'm very happy that they seemingly are getting to this much healthier place of, like, acknowledging how weak your communication skills have to be, that your insecurity about the relationship, you think getting a tattoo, which you do know your husband hates, just not the reason why he hates it, will make the relationship better. Like, that...
Like the top comment is... getting a tattoo despite your partner's dislike of them because it's really important to you, but getting a tattoo to symbolize your relationship with someone who dislikes tattoos, that's wild.
Yeah, that is, like, your communication has to be so, like, because he's like, oh, well, she knew I didn't like tattoos, but not the reason why.
But she didn't tell him the design of it. She didn't tell him the placement of it. She didn't communicate with him about what was going on, where it was going to be, what it was going to be.
I don't need to know this person was abused to know how vehemently he doesn't like tattoos, and I have no doubt that his partner also knew. So it's like, no, and if you're insecure in the relationship, the way through that is not to go get something you have no idea whether they're going to... How could you be so insecure about the relationship but so secure a tattoo will be good despite him hating them? It's very bizarre to me, but I'm glad that he's not throwing away the relationship because of a tattoo. I'm happy it didn't go that way. I'm happy that they are getting counseling and therapy because they need it desperately. That, like, I thought it was an odd thing that he added, like, I can go out with my friends again. I'm like, what?
Yeah,
when did that enter the chat?
That sounds some insecurity.
So this is there's obviously, like, layers.
There's some issues in this relationship.
Heavy layers of, like,
what was this shorts thing about?
I can wear shorts again. Yeah, like, again, I was so like, when did this enter the chat?
Whatever's going on with that statement deserves its own post.
Yeah, like, he can't go out with friends. She can't go out with friends. One of them cannot wear shorts. Like, what is going on here? Like,
if he wears shorts, his genitalia will crawl out of the shorts and tempt another female near him or something.
Look, I mean, let them try. I heavily feel like I have nothing to worry about, and I would be down for you to be wearing shorts that show off the goods. But, like, I'm sad at what a train wreck of a relationship would have to have led to any of what... You
can't trust your partner at a friend's house because they might, gasp, bring a woman around that will tempt him.
Yeah, like, so an update and a conclusion that in the same token made me very happy, but also incredibly sad that these people were going to get married to each other with this level of fuckery happening.
Yeah.
And unresolved. So it's like, yeah, the tattoo, like, potentially saved their relationship and made it stronger, but it should have never
It was a vehicle for them to have deeper conversations with one another.
Yeah, it should have never come to that, which is depressing. But I'm glad at the place that they say that they are, where over even if the tattoo can't be removed fully, because, I mean, some people say it can happen fully. Yeah, it can, but it's expensive and it's painful, and the healing for a lot of people is pretty rough. So I'm glad that he came to the conclusion that whether she removed the tattoo or not, she was still his person, and he didn't want to lose the relationship over it. That was a great sign.
Mm-hmm. That they did say they were going to go to therapy too, so they work out some of their communication issues.
Well, they definitely need it, because holy bananas, that is just wild to... My husband hates tattoos, but I don't want him to leave me for another woman, so I'm going to get a tattoo. Like, what? I can't even wrap my head around that process of thought. But anyway, Kind of a feel-good ending?
Yeah, I guess, all things
Kinda?
considered.
Yeah.
This user, his post history is just these posts 7 years ago, so presumably it all worked out. They got married, they didn't get any more tattoos, or they got tattoos that were agreed upon.
Sure.
So yeah. Well, thanks for joining me, dear.
Anytime.
That was
It's
a
always
delight.
fun chatting about these tales.
I appreciate your insight on tattoos, and
This really, I felt like this didn't really have much to do with tattoos. It was like,
no, it was about greater issues.
yeah, much greater
beyond
issues on
that.
both sides of it. Like that, it was, yeah. That, I mean, we'd have to have a podcast just about actual tattoos for me to get in on that. That's its whole own thing.
Well, thanks for listening, everybody. Until next time.